If you've ever looked down at your belly and felt like you look 6 months pregnant, even though you're not, you are not alone. And if you've tried everything to get rid of it, restricting your calories, doing sit-ups until you can't breathe, maybe even trying those waist trainers and nothing has worked, I need you to hear this. Your belly is not there because you're lazy or doing it wrong. It's not there because you're eating too much or because you lack discipline. As a scientist who spent years in biotech research, I can tell you that what you're dealing with is not a fat problem. It's a signaling problem. And once you understand what your body is actually trying to tell you, everything changes. I'm Dr. Elena Hayes. I'm a formal clinical director at a biotech firm where I worked specifically on insulin sensitizer programs. And when my sister Selena was diagnosed with PCOS and struggled with this exact same belly fat that wouldn't budge no matter what she tried, I went down a research rabbit hole that completely changed how I understood this condition. And even though most people will tell you otherwise, what I discovered is that your PCOS belly is not stubborn belly fat that needs to be starved away, burned, or removed. It's actually your body's protective response. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to explain exactly why the advice you've been given, eat less and move more, is not just ineffective for PCOS, it's actually making things worse. Before we get into the science, let's talk about what you've probably already tried. Because if you're like most women with PCOS, you've been told one of three things. The first group is the fitness influencers who promise you that 5 exercises will blast your belly fat, or that you just need to do more cardio and tone your abs. They treat your belly like it's the result of physical inactivity, like you just need to work harder. The second group is what I call the diet dogmatists. These are the people pushing extreme restrictions, usually strict keto or zero carb approaches, telling you that your body is purely the result of eating too much sugar. And then there's the third group, the hack promoters. Apple cider vinegar, waist trainers, special teas that promise to de-bloat you instantly. Here's what all of these approaches have in common. They treat your PCOS belly as a caloric failure or a cosmetic problem. They tell you to attack the fat, to burn it off, to shrink it down, but they're missing the point. Truly, your PCOS belly is not the same as regular subcutaneous fat that sits under your skin. What you're dealing with is often visceral fat, which is metabolically active tissue that wraps around your organs. And when you do high-intensity workouts or starve yourself on extreme diets, you're actually raising your cortisol levels. High cortisol tells your body that you're in danger. And when your body thinks you're in danger, it does what it's designed to do. It stores more fat in your midsection to protect you. So the standard advice that works for women without PCOS is literally making your situation worse. Now, let me explain what's actually happening in your body. When I was researching this for my sister, I realized the medical literature that was treating PCOS belly as a vanity issue rather than understanding the biology behind it. You see, visceral fat, the kind that creates that hard, bloated belly, is not just stored energy. It's actually functioning like an organ in your body. It's a biologically active tissue. And in women with PCOS, especially those with insulin resistance, this belly fat is doing a very specific job. Let me use an analogy that helped my sister understand this. Think about your cells like houses in a neighborhood. And glucose, which is sugar from your food, is like packages being delivered. In a healthy body, insulin acts like a delivery person knocking on the door. The door opens, the glucose gets delivered inside the cell, and your blood sugar stays balanced. But with insulin resistance, it's like those doors are locked. The delivery person, insulin, keeps knocking, but the cells won't answer. Like, hey, insulin here, open up. So you have all these packages, all this glucose stuck in your bloodstream with nowhere to go. This creates what really looks like a traffic jam. Your body desperately needs to get this toxic sugar out of your blood because high blood sugar is dangerous. So where does it send it? To the safest warehouse it knows. Yes, exactly. Your midsection. Your body creates visceral fat as a protective mechanism to store all that excess glucose that your muscle cells are refusing to take in. This is why I call it the Bodyguard Theory. Your belly is not your enemy. It's been working overtime to protect your vital organs from the inflammation and insulin toxicity that comes with untreated PCOS. Now, here's the second part that most people don't talk about. This visceral fat is inflamed. It's more like angry fat. This is why your belly feels hard and not soft. This is why you might have digestive issues alongside the weight. This is why you can press on your stomach and it feels different from other areas in your body. The inflammation in this tissue is a sign that your body is under metabolic stress. I need to share something personal here because this research wasn't just academic for me. When my sister Selena was diagnosed with PCOS in her late 20s, she went through exactly what probably many of you are going through right now. She was eating less than her friends. She was working out more than anyone I knew, and yet she kept gaining weight, especially around her middle. And the worst part wasn't even the physical struggle. It was the way doctors talked to her. They'd say things like, just lose weight, as if she wasn't already trying, as if she hadn't already cut her calories to the point where she was exhausted all the time. Nobody was treating her body like it was a system sending signals. They were treating her like she was broken. And as someone who spent my career in clinical research, I knew there had to be a better answer. I spent my nights and weekends going through PubMed, reading every study I could find on PCOS and insulin resistance and visceral adiposity. And what I found was that the scientific literature was way ahead of what most doctors were telling patients. We knew that insulin resistance was the driver. We knew that visceral fat was protective. We knew that stress and cortisol made everything worse. But nobody was translating this into practical protocols that women like my sister could actually use. So I created one. I put together a nutrition and strength training protocol specifically designed around the biology of PCOS. And when Selena followed it, everything changed. Not just her weight, but her energy, her cycles came back, her confidence returned. She finally felt like herself again. And that's when I realized what we're missing in medicine isn't more research, it's more translation. It's taking what we already know from the science and making it accessible to the women who need it most. Now that you understand what your belly is actually doing, let's talk about the solution. Because once you know your belly is a bodyguard protecting you from insulin toxicity, you realize something important. You can't diet away from an immune response. You can't exercise away inflammation. What you need to do is signal safety to your system. You need to tell your body that it can stand down, that it doesn't need to store excess glucose as visceral fat anymore because you're going to help your cells become sensitive to insulin again. Let me break this down into 3 key areas. First, nutrition. And I'm not talking about restrictions. I'm talking about metabolic restoration. The goal is to stabilize your blood sugar so that you're not constantly flooding your system with insulin spikes. This means prioritizing protein, especially at breakfast, because protein helps slow down the glucose response. It means focusing on fiber, which does the same thing. And it means choosing carbohydrates that don't cause those massive spikes and then crashes that keep your insulin levels elevated all day long. This is not about cutting carbs completely. It's about choosing the right ones at the right times and pairing them with protein and healthy fats so your body can process them without panicking. The second area is movement. And here's where I see so many women getting it wrong. They think they need to do more cardio, more high-intensity interval training, more fat-burning workouts. But remember what we said about cortisol. If you're doing workouts that stress your body out, you're making the problem worse. Instead, what we want to focus on is strength training, building muscle, because muscle is the organ of longevity. Muscle tissue is like a glucose sponge. It absorbs glucose from your bloodstream, so your belly doesn't have to. It's really simple, and if you can take one thing from this, it's the following. The more muscle you have, the more sensitive your body becomes to insulin. And the beautiful thing about strength training is it doesn't spike your cortisol the way that high-intensity cardio does. You can do it 2 to 3 times a week and see incredible results, not just in your weight, but in your insulin sensitivity, your energy levels, and even your mood. The third area, and this is the one that surprised my sister the most, is your nervous system. If you are chronically stressed, if you're dealing with anxiety, if you're in fight or flight mode all the time, your body is going to hold on to that visceral fat because stress tells your body that you're in danger. And when you're in danger, your belly stays active. This is why rest is actually a weight loss strategy for PCOS. This is why practices like deep breathing, yoga, even just taking walks outside in nature can make a measurable difference. Not because they burn a lot of calories, but because they signal safety to your nervous system. They tell your body that it's okay to relax, that it's okay to let go of the protective fat. Now, I want to be very clear about something. This is not a quick fix. Your body didn't create this belly overnight, and it's not going to release it overnight either. But what I can tell you from working with hundreds of women with PCOS is that when you start addressing the root causes instead of just attacking the symptom, your body responds. Women tell me that within a few weeks, they notice their energy improving. Their cravings start to stabilize, the bloating starts to go down, and over the course of a few months, they see real, sustainable weight loss. Not because they're starving themselves or doing exhausting workouts, but because they're finally giving their body what it actually needs. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about the most important shift you can make. And it's not about what you eat or how you exercise. It's about how you think about your body. For so long, you've probably been at war with your belly. You've seen it as the enemy, as something that's fighting you, as proof that you're failing. But what if I told you that your body has been protecting you this whole time? That your belly isn't a sign of failure, it's a sign that your body has been working overtime to keep you safe from the metabolic chaos of insulin resistance. Once you understand that, everything changes. You stop attacking yourself. You stop feeling ashamed, and you start working with the rest of your body instead of against it. You start asking different questions. Not how do I burn this fat off, but what does my body actually need to feel safe enough to let this go? Not what extreme diet can I follow, but how can I nourish myself in a way that restores my metabolism? This shift from punishment to partnership is what actually creates lasting change. Because when you're kind to your body, when you give it what it needs, it responds. Imagine waking up in the morning and your stomach is flat, not because you've been starving yourself, but because the inflammation has finally gone down. Imagine putting on your jeans and they zip up easily without you having to hold your breath. Imagine looking in the mirror and recognizing yourself again, not just physically, but energetically. Imagine having the stamina to keep up with your kids or your friends without constantly feeling exhausted. Imagine your cycles regulating naturally. Imagine your skin clearing up. Imagine going to the doctor and hearing that your blood sugar has improved, that your inflammation markers are down, but you're no longer on the path to diabetes. This isn't fantasy. This is what happens when you address PCOS at the root level, instead of just treating the symptoms. I've seen it happen with my sister. I've seen it happen with hundreds of women I've worked with since I left my corporate job to do this full time. And it can happen for you too. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. Your PCOS belly is not a character flaw. It's not a sign that you're not trying hard enough. It's a metabolic signal that your body has been protecting you from insulin, toxicity, and inflammation. And the solution is not to attack it. It's to soothe it, to give your body what it needs to feel safe enough to let go. That means stabilizing your blood sugar through strategic nutrition. It means building muscle through strength training instead of exhausting yourself with cardio. And it means calming your nervous system so your body knows it's okay to relax. When you do these things consistently, you're not just losing weight, you're restoring your metabolism. You're reclaiming your energy. You're taking back control of your health and your life. Now, if you want to learn more about the specific protocols I use with my clients, you can learn more about that in the link I'll put below this video. But for right now, I just want you to do one thing. I want you to be kind to your belly. It's been working to protect you, and now that you understand the code, you can tell it to stand down. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you see your body in a new way, let me know in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next one.